So Blizzard is on a little streak right now, releasing stuff. I just did one earlier for Burning Crusade, and now there's going to be a Hearthstone mini set for Wailing Caverns. So Hearthstone, I'm not much of a player of Hearthstone. I played it when it first came out, but I'm doing this because it's a cinematic and it's the Wailing Caverns, and we'll get into that when we're done. So this is Wailing Caverns mini set cinematic trailer. So here we go.
Imagine an elaborate cave system deep underneath the Barrens.
Oh, if you are here to enter the Wailing Caverns, you must turn back.
We handled the Barrens, Archdruid. We can handle whatever's inside that cave.
Do not be fooled by its beauty. The nightmare has corrupted every plant and animal in these caverns. They will try to tear you apart, piece by piece. But I love animals. We have to save them. If only it were that easy, great nephew. You would also have to face wielders of nature itself. The druids of the Fang have fallen to darkness. They command the power of the wilds, and they
shall fall and bring us even more glory for the Horde!
For the Horde! And then, in the cavern's depths, you would battle unspeakable horrors. The nightmare walks down there, twisting everything it touches, creating monsters never meant to exist in our world. Even you five together will not survive their wrath.
Ah, yes, Archdruid Rune Totem. Thank you for your wisdom. We will take your warnings to heart and trouble you no more.
Then I bid you farewell, adventurers. Be safe.
We're still going in, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
We are going in and he does not know.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what you would expect. It's like, okay, we'll heed your warning. We're still going in, right? Of course. So the Wailing Caverns, like, vanilla, BC, Wrath, was very different. It was much more maze-like. Um, you had bosses in different areas. Well, some of them were different areas. Um, there's that jump you have to when you're climbing. You're going up, and there's the jump by the waterfall. You have to jump to the other side. Yeah, that jump back in the day was a lot harder than it seemed, and you jump and just fall straight down if you didn't time it correctly. And then you'd have to walk all the way around. And if you were, say, you were a low level and your friend was running you through it, and they say, I don't know, forgot to kill some mobs, so you're trying to run back, and then you're being attacked. So, but I think it was Cataclysm, they kind of closed the gap between, so that way when you jump, there's really no way of you falling anymore. Um, but yeah, with the lore and everything, yeah, the nightmare kind of taken over, and you can see in Cataclysm the Emerald Dream is kind of popping up in some places in the Barrens, because not only breaking the world, but because of the connection that the Wailing Caverns has with the Emerald Dream, and trying to kind of bring some of it and kind of tap into its power, or not power, but just the essence of the Emerald Dream. Um, Between Vanilla and Cataclysm, the quest is still the same. Got to go find the apprentice there, and wake him up, and you've got a giant murloc you have to fight, and it looks like that's going to be the main boss in Hearthstone. The druids are the Fang, same thing. They're like the commands of snakes, and they dropped actually a really good set that people were really going for. Nowadays it's just for transmog, so but it's back in the day people wanted that set. Um, but the Wailing Caverns. I mean, just to get to the Wailing Caverns, you have to go through. It's not really a maze. It's pretty easy to find your way. But there's so much shit on the way there. And then there's that little area where you have to cross where they're like the plesiosaurs are. And if you're not crossing fast enough or something, they're gonna come right up and um. So it was an ordeal just to get to uh the entrance of the dungeon itself. Of course, it was the same for places like Dead Mines, where you had to go through the mines to get to, and that was a maze. People were like, oh, "Which way are we going?" Um, if you had a place in the capital city, so if you wanted to go to, say, Ragefire Chasm, and you were Alliance, well, you got to try braving the Horde trying to get there. That was until at least um, Wrath, when they came out with Dungeon Finder. So if you're a part of the opposite faction and you wanted to go to the opposite faction's kind of dungeon that they had there in the city, so if you were an alliance and you wanted to go to Ragefire, all you had to do was click Ragefire Chasm. All right, Q, and boom, you get there. You didn't have to worry about dying, unless no, even then. Wait, in Wrath, I don't remember if you had to run, even though it obviously you'd be dead, so it really wouldn't matter. But I can't remember in Wrath if you when you died if you had to run from the healer all the way back to the dungeon. So I think it was maybe in Cataclysm where they changed that, where if you died in the dungeon, you would just get sent back to the beginning of the dungeon. But in um, Vanilla, BC, and Wrath, if you died in a dungeon, you started out at the nearest spirit healer, and if that was, say, in the Barrens, that was quite a trip. Same thing with the Dead Mines. If you died in the Dead Mines, you started like fucking a mile away, and you had to walk all the way back. You had to go back, find your way through the mines, back to the entrance, and it was just an ordeal. So Blizzard changed it. So if you die in the dungeon, you just start at the beginning of the dungeon. You don't have to worry about clearing out trash again if you'd already cleared it. And it just basic quality of life improvement. Because I can't tell you how many times, because these dungeons, like Wailing Caverns and Dead Mines, they wouldn't. Nowadays, you go there and you can clear them out in like what 5 minutes. But no, these dungeons, they would take hours to do. I know back in the day, I would be sitting there for 2-3 hours just doing, Dead Mines or doing Wailing Caverns. It would take hours to do. A small dungeon like this was basically a mini raid. Because things, classes weren't as balanced, tuned back then. Um, like I said, the dying had a large part to do with it because, it would have been so much faster had we just started in the beginning of the dungeon. But no, we had to walk a fucking mile every time we died. And if someone died and we didn't have a res or anything, we had to wait for that person to walk all the way back. So that's why they took so fucking long. Um, so so they were mini dungeon or mini raids back in the day, and they were quite fun because I mean, think about when it was. Most of us were young. I mean, when BC came out in 2006, I was like 19 years old. So I can't say I was young. I mean, I was younger than I am now, but I wasn't like some school kid. I had all this free time, blah blah blah. So, but I was able to sit around for a bit, to you know, and yeah, it was pretty fun. Sitting in the capital cities and like, looking for more, looking for group, dead mines, blah blah blah, and then you get a healer, and you're like looking for group, dead mines, need tank to do DPS, and then the tank looking for group, dead mines, need 2 DPS, but then the healer leaves. Okay, looking for group, dead mines, need healer 2 DPS, and good to go. So sometimes that alone would take an hour or two, depending on the time of day. Um, but I miss those days back when things were simpler. Um, Actually, I'll probably play a few games that I played back in the day when life was simple. One of them will probably come up today. I also have one called Super Cow, and I've done it before, like when I first started my channel, or first started making videos rather. Because I've had this channel since like 2006, 2007. But Super Cow was a game that my nephew played when he was really, really young. When I first moved here to North Carolina the first time, he would play it, and he'd ask me to beat it for him. Um, but even now, as a grown adult, 33 years of age, um, I mean, it's still a nice little game to go back to. It's really simple. It's easy to play. I mean, it's a pretty much collect whatever it tells you to collect and get to the end of the level. But I'll probably do that. It's like I said, it's a cute game, and I just good memories of it. There's another one I'll probably do that so simple, but a lot of you, if you'll probably remember this, maybe I don't know, possibly. I was actually gonna send it to my best friend because it was one of the games that I played all the time when I was in New Jersey and she was living here in North Carolina. She was living with her parents, and it was just one of the games that I played all the time. So it brings me back to a different time. But anyways, the Barrens, the Wailing Caverns, that infamous jump that people. Oh, oh god, that was great. I would show it to you on live, but I uninstalled WoW, so I'm just really not interested in current game. So I'm like, it's taking too much memory. It's like fucking 75 gigabytes. I'm gonna get rid of this shit until I feel interested in playing it again. But yeah, that's. Let me know if you guys play WoW. What are your fond memories of the Wailing Caverns? If you have like a particular memory of that, or what I mentioned with the Dead Mines. Um, how long did it usually take you guys to finish a dungeon? Did it take you 2, 3, 4 hours like it did me, or did you actually have a good group? And or it was with a guild maybe where they've done it and they were all max level and you're like, oh, let's just run you through. Let me know below. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.